Last summer I heated all of my water with a pile of wood chips. No electricity, no propane, just energy from microbes. I'm going to show you 2 compost heating systems I built last summer and some of the challenges along the way. But what are microbes? And how do they relate to a pile of wood chips and heating our water? Stay tuned to find out if I was able to meet all my hot water needs for the summer,
using only microbes.
Last summer I was just getting settled into my tiny home for the first time. One of my biggest limitations was that I had no hot water in the building. So at the time I was just boiling my water and then mixing it with cold water inside of this pressure sprayer which I use for showering. And it wasn't terrible. But as I got more settled into my building, I wanted something a little nicer. But first, where did the idea come from? I've always been interested in off-grid living, so my first thought was solar. I had hundreds of feet of black irrigation pipe that would capture more than enough heat on sunny days. But I didn't have a way of storing that heat into the evening, which is when I actually use hot water. At the same time, I was trying to source some mulch for garden beds. My friend suggested using this website to connect with local arborists, and before I knew it, I had a huge pile of fresh wood chips, which was constantly above 40 degrees Celsius. So when I learned you only need about 40 degrees for a hot shower, that's when it clicked for me that I could use wood chips to capture and store my heat. This is where the microbes become so important. When fresh brushwood is chipped up, it begins a process called aerobic decomposition. Microorganisms use oxygen to break down the carbon and nitrogen-rich biomass, releasing heat as a byproduct of their activity. The brushwood already contains some nitrogen, but adding an additional source helps the microbial community grow much faster. And as you'll see, that can make the pile get really hot. My second system actually ended up getting too hot, and it turned out to be a big problem.
Wow.
Before I show you that, let's check out my first system. My first system was quite simple. I used some extra PEX pipe that I had from when I did the plumbing in the building. I spaced it out as neatly as I could over a thin layer of wood chips, and then I covered it with about 10 yards of wood chips, mixed with grass clippings and weeds from the garden. I also soaked everything as I was building it up. You'll see why this is so important shortly. Within 24 hours, the water coming from the pile was about 55 degrees Celsius. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't a lot of hot water at first, but I was so excited this was actually working. So then I thought, why not make it bigger? I doubled the length of pipe, covered everything back up. Within 24 hours, I was having about 4 to 5 minute hot showers. Although, this also created a new problem. The diameter of the pipe is relatively small, so it was losing a lot more pressure over that length. And let's be honest, 4 to 5 minutes of hot water is better than nothing, but it's not ideal. I still needed hot water for another 5 months as well. So, I was ready to scale this up to a whole new level. This time, I did some research before jumping into my next system. I came across the Jean Pain method and the concept of a biomeiler, also known as a compost water heater. While his method relies mostly on composting freshly chipped brushwood with plenty of water, I found more recent adaptations add about 10% chicken manure as an additional nitrogen source. And you'll see in my second system, this makes a huge difference compared to my first system where I was just using grass as a nitrogen source. In order to monitor the temperature in my new system, I installed a microcontroller with 2 waterproof sensors, which I placed at the bottom and top of the pile. But you're gonna see shortly just how hot this system can get. When I took apart my first system, I noticed it was relatively dry in the middle, despite all the water I added. So in this second system, I used straw bales around the perimeter to help retain the moisture, which also helps to retain the heat. I buried the hot water return line and added an insulation sleeve since I wanted this system to last me into the fall. I'll connect that to the top of my system once all the layers are installed. I also added a perforated pipe to help maintain airflow at the bottom of the pile, which helps to prevent the pile from becoming anaerobic. Then I covered it with 12 inches of wood chips. But I still had to solve my water pressure problem. Fortunately, I had this black irrigation pipe that was twice the diameter of the pipe from my first system, and I was really hoping this was going to work, because this next system turned out to be a lot of work.
Okay, for our mix today, we're going to be doing 9 parts wood chips to 1 part chicken manure.
The pipe acts as a heat exchanger. As cold water flows through the coiled pipe, it absorbs heat from the biomeiler. The system will contain 3 of these layers, which are each 100 feet.
I've been letting the sprinkler go here, which has been, it's pretty moist now. Surprisingly very dry, so I've just been letting the sprinkler go for the last couple hours just to get these wood chips and manure nice and moist again.
It's also good to build your layers separately from the pile to minimize compaction of the wood chips.
We're going to have 30 centimeters or 12 inches of space in between here. Now we can build up the next layer of straw bales and then keep repeating with the layers. Layer number 3. Oh, it's a shame to even have to step on this.
I completely soaked the wood chips as I built each layer up, which is essential for maintaining microbial populations and generating heat. Water is the medium that lets microbes access nutrients and spread through the pile as they break down new material. Lastly, I covered everything with 2 feet of material, and then loose straw on top to retain the moisture. You can see there's a bit of lag time in the water temperature compared to the temperatures I recorded in the pile. But by 8 p.m. on day 3, I was already able to have a 10-minute shower. And within 24 hours, I had more than enough hot water. And the water pressure was tremendous. Life was good, or so it seemed. Our water is 76 degrees. This is when my biggest failure yet happened. The black irrigation pipe was only rated for up to 80 degrees Celsius, which I thought would be fine since my first system didn't go above 60 degrees. At 10 a.m. that morning, the top of the pile reached 79 degrees, and the system failed. Everyone, I was in deep hot shit. And I'm not kidding. Since the pile was 80 degrees, it was actually burning me as I was taking it apart, which has uncomposted manure in it, so it was quite the experience. But I was determined to solve this problem. It failed at one of the union connectors, so it wasn't necessarily that the pipe was the problem, but at this point, I wasn't messing around. I purchased 300 feet of 1-inch PEX pipe, which is rated for up to 180 degrees Celsius. Everything about it just made sense. It had all brass connections versus plastic. The adapters were easier to figure out. This is gonna work, right? Okay, so I finally got this thing apart. And it was not easy, but all in all, really uniform temperatures all around the pile. So now we're putting in 200 feet of our 1-inch PEX pipe, and we'll see how quickly we can get it done. After 3 days, I was back to meeting all my hot water needs. And the system held up, even after days of 80+ temperatures in the pile. Life was good again, for real this time. So I finally had a system that provided more than enough hot water for all my needs. After the initial temperature spike, the pile settled into a more stable range around 60 degrees, which is actually better for maintaining heat over the long term, because the microbes are breaking down the biomass at a slower rate. And it kept going well into November. When I stopped using the compost heater, the core of the pile was still over 45 degrees Celsius. The best part is, this isn't waste. A biomeiler is just a big compost pile. So once it stops producing heat, all that material can go back into building soil conditions, which is a much better way of building a healthy soil food web compared to conventional fertilizers. Plus, with rising fertilizer costs, increasingly unstable climate patterns, and geopolitical tensions disrupting supply chains, these centralized systems are becoming less reliable, and the costs are being downloaded onto us, which means the responsibility is falling back onto individuals and communities. That's where systems like this start to matter. They're also a lot of work. But with some helping hands, these are great ways to build community while becoming more self-sufficient at the same time. This was just a small experiment, but it completely changed the way I think about energy security and waste. The learning mistakes don't stop here though. In an upcoming video, I'll be building another compost water heater for the winter, which is quite different than building one for the summer. Of course, I learned this the hard way. That and what it's like getting hot water from a regular water heater versus my compost water heater.